ladies and gentlemen. Hey, it's Jason from Piper, and today, once again, we're back into ION. So today, we're going to talk about a video about how you can manually enter scores for any assessment that you want to do that is already in the system. So we're going to talk about how to do that. There's two ways to do it, so I'm going to show you both ways, and then you can choose the one that is right for you. Okay? So very quickly, to get scores in ION, there's three different ways that can be done. Number one is through an automatic upload. Now, an automatic upload can occur from a system that is online, like Map Assessment or FastBridge or anything in Skyward. Those are automatically uploaded every single evening. So if a student takes one of those assessments, they're going to be uploaded. So those of you who do FastBridge progress monitoring, nice job of choosing that one, because that one is automatically done for you. There's no data entry that needs to be done on your part whatsoever. The scores will already be in there. The second way to do it is through a bulk update. Now, this is a program like Panorama, where Panorama is an online assessment, but it's not automatically uploaded through ION. What Panorama does is it takes all the scores and puts them onto this massive Excel spreadsheet. That spreadsheet then gets sent to my buddy Jake at ION, and he works his magic and he uploads all the scores all at one time. So that's one we definitely do not want to manually update every single one of those scores. That would take forever, but that is a bulk update that can be done. The third way to do it is actually through manually entering the data ourselves. Now, that can be something that is done, that's an assessment that is done not online, but done through paper pencil. So this would be something like F&P or Words Their Way or Foundations or Number Worlds or any type of assessment that we want to take and put into the system ourselves. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Today is all going to be how we manually enter that data for ourselves. And I'm going to show you how to do it in two quick ways. So here's our ION screen. We want to make sure we choose Google Sign In. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, choose my account, and here we go. Now it's going to load up our homepage for ION. Notice over here I am in my training school. So all the pieces of data you're going to see, these are fictitious student names and fictitious grades and everything. So just don't worry about that, but I am in my training school right here. So to do data entry, the first way is I'm going to show you how to do it through data walls. We're already comfortable with data walls, so because we've been using them all semester long, so I'm going to show you how to do it with that really quickly. So over here, if you remember, we can go to data, and then here's our data walls section, and we can choose data walls to look at our data. However, if 3 clicks is too much for you, you can just choose the magical way. That's what the cool people do, and they choose the blue button right here that also takes you to data walls. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, even though I'm not very cool. That's okay. So over here on the side, these are now give us 3 options. And I'm just going to go over here to district walls. And let's say I'm going to be a second grade teacher and I want to put in some F&P scores. Okay, so grade level data walls. I'm going to choose grade 2. And again, these are data walls that I've already built, so it has to be something that is already built in the system. So grade 2 F&P is something I've already built, so I'll go ahead and click that. Now, this gives me a score of running records through F&P. So these are all the kindergarten scores, these are all first grade scores, these are all second grade scores, and so on. So I've already had, for instance, Gordon and Ignaz already have 2 scores typed in here. So just to show you kind of what that would look like. So let's say I'm going to enter some more quarter 1 grade 2 scores, and I want to put them in there. Now, how do you know that you can manually type in a score? Well, that's what those green plus signs are for. This assessment was already put into ION that I put in, and I set the settings so that manual data entry will be allowed, so teachers can actually input the scores. If you do not see a green plus sign, for instance, if you look at a data wall that has a bunch of math scores, there's no green plus signs on that, and that's because math scores cannot be entered in manually. So if you don't see a green plus sign, you can't do anything about it. But if you do see a green plus sign, what you can do is enter it. So let's say I want to enter in right here is Renard. I'm ready to enter in his quarter 1 F&P score. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that green plus sign. So once I click on the green plus sign, there's 2 important things that I need to enter, and only 2 things. Number 1, I do need to enter in the date. Now, this does not have to be an exact date of when the assessment was done, but a ballpark needs to happen. For instance, let's say I waited until the end of the year to put in a bunch of these scores. Well, if I don't change the date, then when I look at a graph of the kid's score throughout the whole school year, all those data points are all going to be clumped together at once. That is not going to give us a good representation of how much growth or decline the student had over a period of time. So because it's graphed by date. So it is important to put a date in there. It can just be a ballpark, doesn't have to be exact, but we want to make sure we put something in there. So let's say this is quarter 1, and quarter 1, I don't know the exact date that we gave the assessment, but I know it was sometime during this week, so I'm just going to click September 15th. That's a good ballpark thing. Okay, and then I enter the score. So let's say Renard, he took the F&P, and let's say he scored a J. So I'm going to type in J right here, okay? Now, before I hit this green save button, there's one thing I want to check on here, and that is these two radio things right here, because this is going to make things easier or harder for me to enter in scores. If, let's say it's the end of the year and I want to enter in all of Renard's scores throughout the school year all at once, then I do want to leave this radio check right here so that when I hit save, it takes me to the next assessment I'll enter. So if I hit save right now, it's going to leave me on Renard, but it's going to take me to quarter number 2 to enter in his quarter 2 score, okay? But if I want to enter in all the quarter 1 scores for my entire class, I don't want that as an option. I want to click this radio button right here that says next student on enter. So now that when I hit save, it takes me to the next student in line, and now I'm ready to enter in his quarter 1 score. So that's what we want to do. Now, one thing I want to mention before you freak out on this thing, because once you do this, you're going to notice that when we hit close, you're not going to see the score in there. Okay? And there's something that Ion has written right here that data wall will need to be refreshed in order to see the changes. So when you do all this and you enter in all your students' scores and then you hit close and it's empty, don't freak out. Okay? So when you hit close, I want you to watch this. This is Renard's score. Notice his score didn't show up right here. But if I come to my browser and I hit the refresh button, it's going to take a second, and boom, there's Renard's score of a J. It's in there. So once you refresh it, all the scores will be in there. So don't panic. It's all going to be in there. It just doesn't look like it is. Just hit refresh, and you'll be able to see everything. Okay? But this is the first method of entering all the scores. You can go in through a data wall, just do it straight through here, enter everybody's score, and you're done, and the data is there. Coming over here to data, so instead of going through a data wall, since we're entering an assessment, I'm going to go ahead and click on assessment, and there's scores right there. So I'm going to hit assessment and scores, and that's going to take me to this screen here. And first of all, before we do this, I do want to thank my good friend Madison for showing me this way, because she found this way to enter all the scores that I had totally forgotten about. She liked this one better. You may like it better too than going through the data wall, but I'm going to show you both ways so that you can choose which one you want. Okay, so over here, grade. So let's say I'm a second grade teacher. I'm going to do this. For section right here, for those of you who are middle school, high school teachers, is you might want to be able to do this if it's easier for you to enter in all the scores for one of your classes. This might be an easier thing for you to do, is to choose the section so it filters down just those kids. But I'm going to leave this right now. Assessments. Look at all these assessments we can possibly do. These are all the teacher-created assessments that I've put in the system already. This list is probably going to keep on growing. So, but right now I just want to choose Fontaine Pinnell. That's what we're going to do. And the year is 21-22. The term, I still want to be working on my quarter 1 scores. So I hit quarter 1. Notice my first 3 students, their scores are already in here. How great is that? Okay. So now I'm ready for my 4th student right here. So we're going to enter in the dates. And let's say he took this on September 20th. And he got an H. Okay. Once I type in the score, there's the green save button. Don't forget to hit the green save button, because I don't want you to do all this work and have it not be saved. So make sure you hit the green save button, and there you go. His score was just saved as an H. Now it takes me down to clear. Now notice something that Ion did that's really kind of cool that might save you some time. Once I put in the first student's date right here, it went ahead and auto-populated everybody's date below that to match that. That can actually save us some time. So if you are going to be putting in everybody's quarter 1 scores and it was taken around the week of September 15th, you can put September 15th at the top, and boom, it'll change everybody's date to September 15th. Then the only dates that you really have to change are the ones who maybe took it a week or 2 later because they were sick or something like that. You can change the dates for that. But if you're entering all the quarter 1 scores and you just want to keep everybody on the same date because that's the general time that they took it, boom, that is fine. And so now it just becomes a case of entering some F&P scores, making sure I hit save after that. Here's another one, we'll call this one an L, we'll do this one, and so on, and save it, and all be good. Okay, so there you go. So once you save it, it's all good, and just to check to make sure that they are coming through, I'm going to go ahead and go back to my data wall, and let's take a look at my second grade F&P data wall, and boom, there they all are, just like I entered them. So you see, you can do it by data wall, you can do it through the assessment score screen. I don't care which way to do it, just make sure your data is in there, and this will help you out with all your planning and helpful for students' needs, okay? So anyway, that's the end of my video. That's all I wanted to show you today. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, make sure you shoot me an email with any questions or concerns you have about Ion or data scores or anything that you want to ask about, and I will help you. So thank you so much. Thanks for helping kids, and We'll see you next time.